Good morning, fourth graders. Mrs. Evans here. Welcome back from spring break. I hope you had a wonderful time and you're ready to dive on into our language today. We're going to start nice and easy by reviewing two main concepts of our verbs that we talked about before we left for spring break. The first thing that we're going to review is subject-verb agreement. If you remember, subjects and verbs must agree with one another when we're talking about number. That means if you have a singular subject, you must also have a singular verb. And singular verbs end in S. The second thing that we're going to be reviewing is verb tense. Remember, tense means time, and there are three different tenses that we've studied about so far. Do you remember all three? Past, present, and future. Very good. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see what I see, and I'll be asking you some questions from my iPad. All right. There you go. Now you can see what I see. Number one, my brother blank the grapes. The first question I have for you is, what is the subject? Who or what is that entire sentence about? If you answered brother, good job. I'm going to show that that's my subject by underlining it one time. Okay. Next, look at the verb smash. Remember, a verb is a word, it's an action word. Smash is what you can physically do to those grapes. Maybe they're making some yummy grape juice. Since we have the subject brother, the next question we need to ask ourselves is, how many brothers are we talking about here? One brother, more than one? How many do we have? Just one. If you have just one of something, what is that called? Singular. Since we have a singular subject, we must have a singular verb, and singular verbs end in S. But look at this verb carefully. What two letters does this verb end with? An SH. Very good. There's something special that needs to take place if we have a verb that ends with an SH. Do you remember what it is? Hopefully you said add ES to the end. Do you remember some of the other endings that we need to be looking out for? CH, SH, SX, Z, add an S behind an E. Not just S, not just E. ES does it accurately. So instead of writing smash, we're going to write smashes. All right, S-M-A-S-H-E-S. Now I have a singular subject and I have a singular verb. Singular verbs end in S. Let's look at sentence number 2. John blank the books. Who or what is this entire sentence about? John. Is John singular or plural? Singular. There's only one. Since we have a singular subject, we must have a singular verb. Singular verbs end in S. But carry does not end with an S. It ends with a Y. We have a special rule for this. We must back up one letter and see what kind of letter comes in front. What letter comes in front of the Y? An R. Is the R a vowel or is it a consonant? It's a consonant. I see a consonant. Change the Y to an I and add ES. John carries the books. Number 3, I blank a song. I blank a song. Who or what is the entire sentence about? I. Is I singular or plural? It's singular. So we need a singular verb, right? Not in this case. Remember the words you and I? Well, we break the rules. So we need actually a plural verb. So this plural verb will not end with an S. It will just be choose. It will stay exactly the way it is. Number 4, his mother blank the song. Who or what is the entire sentence about? Mother. Is mother singular or plural? Singular. Because it is singular, we need a singular verb. Singular verbs end in S. All we have to do is just add an S here. There's no other spelling rules that we need to do here. Number 5, this is our last one of this kind. Sam and Alice blank the instruments. Sam and Alice blank the instruments. Who or what is our entire sentence about? Sam, Alice. Now, how many subjects do we have? 2. Since we have 2 subjects, the subject is automatically a plural subject. So we need to have a plural verb. Plural verbs do not end in S. Our verb will just be play. Okay. The next thing that we're about to review is actually a continuation of the first thing, subject-verb agreement. However, these verbs need to be corrected. They already technically agree, but the wrong verb has been used. Let's look at number 1. My grandmother learns me something new every summer. The subject and the verb agree with one another in number, but the incorrect verb has been used here. Instead of learns, it needs to be something different. What I'm going to do here is delete learns altogether because that is incorrect. And we need to add in the word that should be used. My grandmother I'm struggling. Taught me something new every summer or teaches. Let's look at the next one. Last summer, we sit on the porch until after dark. Last summer, we sit. Is sit correct or is it incorrect? Well, it is, they are resting, but notice this right here. Last summer. Sit means it's happening right now, but we need the past tense of the verb sit. So sit is incorrect, but we need a different form of it. We need the past tense. The past of sit is sat. One day, she teached me to knit a scarf. Did you notice how when I typed this out, it actually had a little red squiggly line underneath it saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Now, the computer won't always recognize that something is wrong. That's why it's important that we know the rules. Did you notice how in the other sentences, nothing was underlined in red squiggle? The computer is thinking that everything is fine, when in fact it actually is not grammatically correct. One day, she teached me to knit a scarf. Teach is one of those irregular verbs. Remember, a verb is called irregular if it doesn't follow the regular spelling changes from present to past. We will not just add an ed to this. It should be taught. Next, I can borrow grandma's knitting needles until I get my own. Can and may are often confused with one another. We need to go back to what is the definition of this word. Can means I am physically able to do something, but that is not what we need here. We need permission because those knitting needles aren't ours. They belong to somebody else. So in order for us to use something that belongs to someone else, we must have permission. I know you can use it, but do you have permission to use it? Can needs to be deleted, and in its place, may, because we're asking permission. I may borrow grandma's knitting needles, or in this case, permission has been granted. The last one, Grandma is very fit. She may run in marathons. Now, let's go back to the definitions one more time. I just said that may means permission has been granted. Does Grandma need permission to run in marathons? Of course she doesn't. But does Grandma have the physical ability to run in a marathon? I don't know. But if you have the ability to do something, that is going to be can. No permission is needed here. Can. She is physically able to run in that marathon. Whew, that would be amazing. Okay, the last thing that we're going to review together today is verb tense. Let's look at sentence number 1. What is the helping verb in this sentence? We have enjoyed the music. We have enjoyed the music. Have. Woo, that's a little too bold. Let's get that a little lighter. Come on, Mrs. Evans. You know I just am loving all this technology stuff. Thanks for bearing with me. Now, in order to have a helping verb, there has to be another verb in that sentence that it's helping. Did you find the main verb in sentence number 1? Enjoyed. Is enjoyed an action verb or a linking verb? It's an action verb. Sentence number 2. Which verb tense tells about an action that has already happened? Already happened. Let's review. Present means it's happening when? Right now. Future means it's going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. But the one that has already happened is called what? Past. Number 3, which verb tense tells about an action that is happening right now? Oh goodness, I hate it when I give answers away, but that's okay. Number 3, is happening right now, present. P-R-E-S-E-N-T. Right now is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Number 4, which helping verb do we add to a main verb to form the future tense? Ooh, remember, if it was a future tense verb, there was one helping verb that always preceded or came in front of that action verb. Do you remember which one it was? Starts with a W. Will. 5, how would you spell the past tense form of the verb in each of the following sentences? Let's look at number 5. Bill blank ice cream. We're wanting the past. Can we just add an ED onto the end? No, of course not. Because what does this word end with? An E. We must do what to the E? Drop the E before we add an ED. L-I-K-E-D. Number 3, Allie blank the piano. What letter does this verb end with? It ends with a Y. The rule states we must back up one letter. Do we see a consonant or a vowel in front of the Y? A vowel. So we just add an ED. Number 7, Cammie blank the lawn, the past tense form. What do we add? An ED. Ooh, can I squeeze it in? Goodness gracious. Number 8, what is the future tense form of the verb eat? Well, let's go back up to this question here. In order to make a future tense verb, what verb must come out in front? Will. So we need to have for number 8, will, then the verb eat. Will eat is future tense, meaning it hasn't happened yet, but it will eventually. Number 9, list the past tense helping verbs that we use with the subject I, the past tense. Past tense will be was, like you might be thinking, I was in the 3rd grade last year. Or have, I have been there many times before. Or had, maybe you have had a birthday party in times past. Number 10, what is the past tense form of the following verbs? Oh goodness, I will give you a little hint for these. 10 through 13 are all irregular verbs. That means that the spelling will change on the inside of those verbs. So for number 10, the past of go is went. Number 11, the past of make is made. The past of number 12, let's back up there. Number 12, the past of swim. It's not swum. Remember, we can only use swum if one of the H brothers comes out in front that has a has, have, or have. Those are our 3 H brothers. Swum has a U in it. Remember, you need help. So it's not swum. It's going to be swim. And number 13, the past of give is not given, but gave. Our last one for today as we're closing up our review time. Number 14, which verb, sit or set, goes in this sentence? Jill blank the book down. Now, let's think. What are the meanings of these words? Sit means to rest or to recline. Set means you are taking an item and placing it somewhere with your hands. So does the book need to rest or does the book need to be placed? Rest or placed? It needs to be placed. So we're going to put set as the correct choice there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Okay, thank you so much for joining me as we were reviewing 2 of the major things that we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks in language. Tomorrow, we will not have a language class as we're moving on to the next phase of our mobile learning. Tomorrow is actually going to be our first day for reading groups. And I will send out those reading group Zoom invitations to your parents. And I also have sent out earlier this week a schedule to all of your parents, letting them know how I will be contacting you all daily, what time I will be contacting you daily, and by what means of communication, whether that be FaceTime, Zoom, or Google Duo. Please make sure that you are checking the schedules, and you might need to set some reminders for you. Just a heads up, for tomorrow, instead of us doing language, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing our first day of reading groups. And I cannot wait to see you all ready to go with your reader, your RAM, your pencil, and of course, wearing your uniform polo shirt. And I'll see you tomorrow at our regularly scheduled times. Aside from that, on Thursday, we'll be having our first language assessment, and stay tuned for more information about that. But if you have extra time tomorrow, I would highly recommend going back and rewatching any of those language lessons that might have been confusing for you. I'm going to call out especially the one that was entitled Confusing Verbs. That was one of our last ones from last week. That might be a really good one for you to go back and watch again, or even those irregular verbs. So Thursday we'll have our first language assessment, and then Friday we'll have a fun review day. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.